A lot of strange things happen around here. Not strange like things that make you go, huh. I mean, things so strange that you just don't talk about them, even in broad daylight. Things that make you want to be absolutely sure that your doors and windows are locked before you go to sleep here in Sasser, Georgia. Now, I'm going to do my best to lay this all out for you, but I'm not a good storyteller, so you just got to bear with me. I'm going to do my best, but I know I'm going to forget something. I digress, or whatever it is they say. Ain't that what they say? Anyways, why don't I just tell you a little bit about a few of the strange things that I'm referring to? A few grisly scenes from the history of this sick, sad, demented little town. Are you ready? Okay, so back in '85, I was 5 years old at the time. Little Natalie Stanfield took a piece of broken glass to her whole family one night. And I don't mean she took it to him like, look, mommy, I found it pretty either. I mean, she took it to him like, dude in a hockey mask with a fucking machete. Gave her mama, her daddy, her two older brothers the impromptu tracheotomy while they slept. She was 6 years old at the time, one grade ahead of me, and the prettiest girl in school. They say the piece of glass came from the old church down on Mill Pond Road. They say it was a piece of that stained glass, stained with all them weird colors, just like all the windows at that creepy-ass little church. But nobody went down there to see if any of that glass was missing. Nobody ever goes down to that church. There was that time that Richie Hooks and Hollis Taylor went to the power dam to smoke a joint, came back into town without their skin and without their goddamn minds. Walked right into Maury's gas station off Highway 111, missing every stitch of God's natural coveralls they was born with. My older brother was in Maury's when Richie and Hollis came in. He says he ain't ever seen nobody move as fast as old Ken Maury did that day. Said Mr. Maury pulled out that 12 gauge from behind the counter and dusted those boys before they could even reach the Slim Jims. Of course, neither Ken Maury or my brother knew who Richie and Hollis was at the time. I mean, it is kind of hard to recognize somebody who's missing their fucking face. My brother pissed his pants as them boys come stumbling into the store. And he says he still thinks about some of the stuff that they said as they were staggering towards him. And he says that it wasn't gibberish like old Ken Maury says it was. He said they were speaking in a whole nother language. Some harsh, inhuman language older than Moses that two Georgia boys had no business speaking. My daddy told me that when he first moved to Sasser back in '76, there was a big flood. 12 solid days of rain that swelled the river up and over the dam, washed away half the south end of town. First morning after, the water rose up to Ed Fletcher's bait shop, which was about 200 yards away from the river's edge. Mr. Fletcher and his son-in-law, Hank, found about a dozen or so of the ugliest critters you've ever saw washed up behind the place. Hank told me that the damn things looked like a cross between a big alligator gar and a Mexican. Said they had arms with hands like men and ugly, distorted human faces, but in all other respects were pretty much like a big alligator gar. Hank said that they liquefied in the sun by noon, and the shit that was left behind stank like death. But Hank's fond of his daily bottle of Old Thompson, though, so I ain't too sure how keen his memory of the event really is. My daddy helped clean up the First Baptist Church on South Main after the river went back to its rightful place. The graveyard behind the church had flooded, so all the coffins popped up like a bunch of nasty-ass buoys all over the place. Daddy said while reburying all the coffins and repairing the damaged ones, they found a lot more vacant boxes than they did occupied ones. And none of these missing corpses were ever accounted for. You know, that reminds me of the time the corpse crawled into Lindsay Davenport's house. Crawled right down the chimney and rolled out into the living room while everybody was watching Home Improvement. And then it just laid there. Thank God. Of course, the Davenports will tell you that the guy died on his way down the chimney, if they still lived around here. But they moved to Oregon a month or so after that happened. My Uncle Pete is the county coroner, and he'll tell you that the guy that Sheriff Clements pulled out of the Davenport's living room that night had been visiting the old dirt buffet for a good 25 years before he decided to go chim-chimney, chim-chimity, chim-chim-cheree. In 5th grade, I saw a kid vomit a goddamn baby onto his desk right in the middle of class. The misshapen little thing rasped out the boy's name, which I can't think of right now, thank God, before it choked to death on the clean air. The administrators told us kids that it was just a malignant tumor that the boy'd cough up, but we never saw him at school anymore. In 8th grade, a bunch of us kids dared Tommy Strickland to climb into the big black box that sits on top of the hill on Northside Drive. Oh, he was in there long enough for some of the older kids to close the lid and count to 3. But when he came out of that box, he was at least 5 years older and balls out fucking crazy. He died about 6 months later of heart failure due to sleep deprivation because he just didn't want to close his eyes. He said it reminded him of being in that box, and he said he wasn't alone in there. Tommy's cousin William was a close friend of mine. A few years ago, William was deer hunting out near crazy old Cindy Strickland's land, and he saw a tentacle coming up out the ground. Says he was just sitting there in his stand, waiting for something to come along. All of a sudden, this goddamn tentacle comes up out of a hole in the ground. Says it was at least a foot thick, 20 feet long. Says it looked right at him. Asked him if it had any eyes. He said no, but the damn thing looked right at me. I know it. He moved to Tennessee last Christmas. Didn't say nothing to me or nobody. Just packed up his shit and left. So, what does all this mean? Why am I recording this? Well, somebody has to. See, there never has been a newspaper here in Sasser. I mean, who the hell wants to read about all this shit while having bacon and eggs at 8 a.m.? Nobody. Also, we can't have everybody knowing what goes on around here. Now, can we? So why does it have to be me who tells all these stories? A 38-year-old high school dropout lives in a trailer in his daddy's backyard? Why me? Well, that's the kicker, folks. I gotta do it because I'm the only person that's left in Sasser, Georgia. The only one who ain't on his way down to that church on Mill Pond Road. See, when I got up this morning, everybody in town was walking out towards Mill Pond Road en masse, or whatever it is they say. Ain't that what they say? Anyways, there everybody was walking through town with the biggest grin on their faces, cheesing like they were all headed to Disney World or something. But I knew where they were going. I saw my dad in the crowd as I turned around to head back home. He left his place in the mob long enough to walk over to the truck and asked me to join him. Said everything was going to be fine as soon as we got the congregation going again. He said it was exactly what this town needed to get right back on track. Told him I loved him before I dropped the truck in first gear and ran him over. I could see in his eyes that he really believed what he was saying. I knew he wasn't the man that raised me. Shit. I hauled ass back here and started recording this, but it's taken me a while to get it all out. I guess the congregation went pretty quick, 'cause everybody's gathering up around my trailer as I finish this. Hell, I didn't even hear them walk up. Fucking creepy. Did I say finish? That's a joke. I could have told you hours worth of unholy shit that's happened around here Or at least I could have hit you with my theory about what causes all this shit. But there's never really enough time, is there? Ain't that what they say? Maybe you're wondering why I didn't just haul ass and drive as far away as I could. The thing is, I just don't want to leave. I mean, I do want to leave, but I can't. I thought about it, but I just can't. Something's holding me here. I can feel it moving under the ground. Anyway, everybody's starting to beat the doors and windows down in this little trailer. I can see the strange colors in all their eyes, just like all the stained glass at that church. Something about this just gives me a feeling that this is just the beginning of something bigger. You know what I mean? Like, we're on the verge of something to be let loose. I can feel it moving under the ground. Sorry, I'm rambling now. I guess I'm scared. Hell, maybe it is the end of the world. It sure feels like it to me. If it is, I guess I said all this for nothing. Fuck it. Well, it won't take them long to get in here now. But don't you worry about old James. I got my trusty 20 gauge here. Even though all I got in there is birdshot, I'm pretty sure as long as the barrel's in my mouth and pointed up, it'll do the trick.
One, two, three, four. Well, I was heartsick for years as our love fell apart. The kisses turned to curses and hate. I didn't know that another man had taken my place. But now there's a grave calling your name. 'Cause down deep in the swamp I sang an old eerie song. Wrote your name with my own hot red blood. And with 3 strands of your hair wrapped around my left hand, I made sure there's a grave calling your name. So come home beneath the black earth and the stones. You lay down and you ride all alone. You come home when your years they're all gone. Come home, come home, come home. Took sick by November, and by year's end you died. My heart broke again for my bride. But when they laid you in the dirt, I thought I heard you say these words. My love, there's a grave calling your name. So when the heartache near kills me as the long nights creep by, the tears won't stop falling from my eyes. Well, I just rock back and forth and I whisper your name. And remember there's a grave calling in mine too. So come home beneath the black earth and the stones. You lay down and you ride all alone. Come home when your years they're all gone. Come home, come home, come home. You come home beneath the
You got weird holes on your property. Do they whisper at your children? Do pets wander in these holes and never return? That ain't no problem. We filled those right up. And ask us about our ongoing maintenance plans if you got reoccurring hole problem. It ain't uncommon in this area. Clean Slate Concrete, 115 Dogwood Road, Sasser, Georgia. Or call us at 229-336-6669.
Tonight on the lurking news. More on the notorious serial killer known as the Butcher, whose last victims were found in Moultrie, Georgia.
Riding down the road at evening, with the stars of Steed and Shun, I have heard an old man singing underneath a copper moon. God who gemmed with topaz twilights, opal portals of the day, on our amaranthine mountains, why make human souls of clay? For I rode the moon mare's horses in the glory of my youth, wrestled with the hills at sunset, till I met brass-tinctured truth, till I saw the temples topple, till I saw the idols reel, till my brain had turned to iron, and my heart had turned to steel. Satan, Satan, brother Satan, fill my soul with frozen fire. Feed with hearts of rose-white women, ashes of my dead desire. For my road runs out in thistles, and my dreams have turned to dust, and my pinions fade and falter to the raven wings of rust. Truth has smitten me with arrows, and her hand is in my hair. Youth, she hides in yonder mountains. Go and see her, if you dare. Work your magic, brother Satan. Fill my brain with fiery spells. Satan, Satan, brother Satan, have known your fiercest hells. Riding down the road at evening, when the wind was on the sea, I have heard an old man singing, and he sang most drearily. Strange to hear when dark lakes shimmer to the wailing of the loon. Amethystine Homer, singing under evening's copper moon.
Oh, my dear Franklin, I'm not your wife.
2 more victims of the butcher have been found tonight in Ardmore, Oklahoma. Authorities are still unsure how the butcher is able to cover such distances so fast and what the butcher does with the missing parts of his victim.
This place wears on you, I tell you. I can't go anywhere without that goddamn shuffling behind me. I mean, I'm an adult, but that shit behind you in the dark all the time just starts to wear on you. I go to the kitchen late at night for a snack or a drink or whatever, and it's always fucking behind me in the dark. I mean, it's probably nothing, just an echo or something in this old house, but it fucking wears on you. And what's the deal with this old house anyway? There's never anything in the fridge, just funky fridge water and the occasional rusty can of beans or some old bread. Who keeps canned stuff in the fridge anyway? I'm telling you, this place. But seriously, sometimes I just try and find a way out. Just outside, you know? I can see outside. Through the windows in this old house, I see the lawn out there. Overgrown and discolored. Wrong looking. Sometimes I see people out there, and they always look so lost, so worried. They hurry along the road and never look back. I don't think any of those people are okay. I don't think they ever got off this road. Hell, I can't get out of this house. If I get out on the road, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. End up just like those people I see. Lost, worried, out there on that dark road. I try, though. Who wouldn't? This place is fucking weird. Everything is so run down and rusted and dusty. The whole place stinks. Sometimes I wonder why anyone stays here. The woman by the back hallway who just sits and occasionally says something about blood is clearly fucking insane. Why doesn't someone evict her? Thought of calling the cops once, but I couldn't find my phone. I can never find anything I really want in here. And I've noticed. Oh, I notice, I assure you. Anytime I need the phone, it's not there. I just saw it earlier. Sometimes I think I'll just grab it the next time I see it and call, but I never see it. Really. I honestly don't know if I ever had a phone. I sometimes think, why did I move in here? I really can't remember exactly how long ago it was or what prompted me to choose this house. I mean, it's nice, but there are a few little things that just start to wear on you. For instance, the shuffling. I mean, I figure it's some other tenant who thinks it's funny to shuffle after me in the dark, but seriously, it gets old. I would ask around, but the only other person I ever see out of their room is the old lady by the back hallway, and she doesn't really talk much. I think something is wrong with her. And what's up with that? None of these people ever leave their rooms. What the hell are they doing in there? I hear them, but no one ever leaves. What do they eat? Hell, maybe they all survive off the fridge like I do. What a sad bunch we are then. And I hate that fucking fridge anyway. I know it's one of the new ones that makes its own stuff and everything, but at least it can make something decent. Not be so goddamn rude. Sometimes I go in for a snack or something and it says to me, "Why won't you die?" I mean, I guess technically that's a question, but how do you answer it? I don't really like technology much, really. Maybe that's part of why I moved in here. For the most part, this place is pretty carbon neutral. I think the only power in the place is for the fridge. There sure aren't any lights, and that shit wears on you. Walking around trying to find your way in the dark all the damn time is tiring. The goddamn shuffling. Sometimes I just get so edgy. So worked up, expecting some hand to come out of the dark and grab me, and finally I'll know who's shuffling back there. It wears on you, I'm telling you. And it's cold. Not so cold you can't stand it, but just cold enough to keep you fucking chilled to the bone all the time. My joints are so stiff from the cold, and sometimes I get headaches just from shivering and chattering. I would complain, but They let me stay here for free, so really I should be grateful. Hell, maybe it's just me. Maybe something is wrong with me. I mean, sometimes I think I am outside, but then I realize I'm not. Sometimes I think I can remember what I did before I came here, but then I realize I can't. Sometimes I don't realize what I'm looking at, but then I do. Sometimes I think about calling my mom and getting the fuck out of here. The other night there was someone making noise in the hall just outside my room all night. Just slurping and smacking. I got fed up and decided I was going to call Mom, but I couldn't find the phone. I could never find my goddamn phone. And then whoever was out in the hall started calling my mom's name through the door at me. Who would do that? I mean, there's gotta be something wrong with whoever would do that. I just realized I've been talking to myself. I thought I was writing this down, but then I realized I've been talking on the phone this whole time. I don't even have a laptop. Thank God I found my phone though, right? I had it the whole time. Saw the words and thought I was writing. Can you see these words? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Please come get me. Somebody please come get me. Get me the fuck out of here, somebody. Can you hear me? Who is this? Who is this? Can you hear me? Can you see these words?
I know you're afraid. I'm afraid too.
They're Melton of the Lurking News, here to report that the butcher is in your house. I repeat, the butcher is in your house.
The Lurking Transmission is created, directed, produced, and engineered by Evan Dean Shelton. The first tale, set in Sasser, Georgia, was written by Evan Dean Shelton and performed by James Tillman. The first song was There's a Grave Calling Your Name by Paul Waggener. The second tale, Always Comes Evening, was written by Robert E. Howard and performed by Alex Rink. The second song was Forming by The Owls Are Not What They Seem. The third tale, Shufflin, was written by Evan Dean Shelton and performed by Blake Douglas. The third song was Thaumiel by Grave Gnosis. The voice of the Lurking News is Heather Melton. Everything you hear within the Lurking Transmission is protected by copyright. This is the part of the credits where most podcasts will threaten you with legislation should you choose to pirate our material. But we here at the Lurking Transmission are outlaws and black magicians, and therefore we don't call the law. You fuck with us, and we'll fuck with you. Good night and stay tuned, for the Lurking Transmission will return.